right, back to the pond, episode 1. Welcome, guys.
Ooh, welcome. Where do we
Welcome
begin?
Where do we even begin? Um,
at the
First off,
water's edge.
I think we
it's
need
it.
to acknowledge the backgrounds first. We all have something really fun going on here. Put in the chat or the comments which one you like best, but I think it'll be Sven's at the bottom.
Well, if we're starting with season 3, the new season.
Oh, I love it. I am going to change my name for the next hour to Kelly Landry.
Oh,
Please follow suit.
I would like to be Kenny Augustine.
Wow.
Just call me Susanna.
I'm going to be Sven Coyle.
Hey, look at my name.
Oh my God.
You have to change that before work.
No, don't. Leave it. Leave it. Leave it.
Nobody would be surprised. I'd be like, oh, she's at it again. All right, let's see. What's he gonna pick? What's he gonna pick? Oh, yes.
Oh, Sven.
People are like, what? Who the hell is that?
So, episode 1, back to the pond.
He's
Welcome to our
great.
podcast. I'm Kelly Landry.
I'm Kenny Augustine.
Sven Coyle.
And we are here to recap every episode once a week to kind of share our shockers, share our questions, share some theories that we're developing on where we're going to go. Coming into season 3, I'm really excited to think about those kind of plot lines that we've started to see, the plot patterns, if you will, that we've started to discover in the first 2 seasons and see how they kind of repeat themselves here. And are we like expert status now where we can start to make some predictions and actually be right? Because, not gonna lie, 2 seasons in, and these seasons have a hard time getting started,
Ooh, I felt that.
right?
Season two. That was a rough one.
Like, clearly,
Yeah.
that took me like 6 months to watch season 2. You guys were much better about it than I was.
Mm.
Season 2 was rough because they had to tell a lot more backstory.
Mm.
Had to
Oh,
bring
yeah.
in what happened to Jacob. Where's he living? They couldn't just say, well, here he is and what, 18,
Totally.
14, and just say, and now he's back. So we had to get a little
A lot
background.
more development.
Right.
Totally. Also, why the 1800s?
That was something I couldn't quite connect with, man. I mean, I've expressed that to you before, but like, and it's something I don't know, understood on the deep level. Like, Sven, I think you have your thoughts about that. We're
I
like,
do. I don't think it's we have to go that deep. I think it shows the founding of the town, the building of the
Mm.
lighthouse by Jacob, and
yeah.
how the Landry started with that farm and how it's been passed down now
And
to
just
the
how small
estate and family.
town, hometown that place really
Right.
is.
And it's not just, hey, we have this farm we bought from Joe Schmo. It's actually handed down.
It's been
Okay.
ours.
So
Yeah, I like, okay.
Are respectable now. You know, are the history.
An
Okay.
appreciation for that.
Yes, an appreciation. That's good.
So we start off the episode and like I can't get over how they chose to cast Jacob. There were times where I looked at this Jacob and I thought that he was like the love child of your Jacob, Sven, and like Rain.
yeah.
Whoa.
There are some weird features here. Mind you, it may be
Yeah.
COVID brain, but
Yeah, there are some looks about him. I feel like he looks old. I don't How old would you say he's supposed to be at this point in the show as an adult?
He's supposed to
They said
be 32
young
32.
30s.
because he
Okay.
was gone for 24 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he
Okay.
was 8 when he disappeared. So
You with the facts. Okay, good. Yeah, so it's like I guess he's a good 32. He's got like a charm, a childish charm about his face that I think helps you still see him as that child that he
Mm.
was, and that the family still sees him as, and like the mom, Dell, sees him as. So that's nice. But then he
Mm.
also has this like scruffy old time look that looks like he is from the 1800s. So
yeah.
all of those
Where did
blending
they find this
together,
guy?
right? He's like
Plus,
this
I
guy.
don't I don't think if they made him a more, to put it in Kelly's, a more rugged, handsome
Mm-hmm.
actor, I think it would have taken away from the three power women dynamic and the whole he's just a kid coming back. Now it's going to be, oh, who's his heartthrob in town? Let's go with that.
Mm.
But that being said, the actor that they picked, I'm sure they didn't pick to say, oh, he's not that good looking. He's a good looking guy. It's
Mhm,
just
mhm.
probably not what you're expecting.
Mhm.
Totally.
Yeah.
Just in,
Also, like, what would you do
you
if
can
you were
edit this next
Dell?
part out
Huh?
because just in case he sees this, we don't want to call him ugly. All
No,
right.
No,
no,
he's
we think you're
adorable.
cute. Yeah, uh-huh. Yeah, Jacob. Mm-hmm.
And as the episode goes on, he starts to look a little better, a little more modern.
Oh,
Totally.
yeah, yeah.
Totally. The
That,
transition. And that I think that's what got me. And that's why I put like Jacob Shave like as a shocker. Like
yeah,
just the casting and the costumes and like that whole department combining together with this was just like, well done. Well
yeah.
done, guys. Like I'm believing all of this right now.
Hmm.
Yeah, he's looking more like he's fitting in now.
Props, Hallmark.
Yeah.
See you.
Mhm.
We see you. Alice's outfit.
All right,
Oh,
so I
the
saw a recent
blazer?
interview. I shouldn't say too recent, maybe a couple months old, of the actress that plays Alice,
Oh,
and I
she's
don't
cute.
have her name right here with
What's
me.
her
But
I follow her on the IG.
and I'm thinking that as a person, an actress, and a character, she wants to be a little more grown up.
mm-hmm.
Because in seasons 1 and 2, whenever she travels, she always played a 15-year-old,
Yeah,
and so I think she's trying to look more
totally.
growing up. If you see her in interviews, she does not look like a 15-year-old girl anymore.
Because she is supposed to be, Alice is 17 now, right?
Yeah,
And stepping into, and that was like another question that I was like, where's she coming from in this cab? What year is it? What time of year is it?
They like threw
Still
her
in
in
school? Did you go off to college? Like the whole,
classic blazer to age her like 20 years. They're like, she's
right.
yes.
Southern now. And I was like, you don't have to do it like that, but okay.
Yeah.
Apparently a blazer makes you look
Well, and I was
old.
like, they gave it a whole like big city girl comes back home to her
Yeah.
hometown life. I'm like, did she go to college yet? Or like,
Great. I don't
I
think so.
think she
what was
just.
it?
I think it's also showing the way her dad lives as a rich
Mm,
lawyer in Minneapolis in the big city,
That's
and
not
I think it's
true.
portraying that a little bit.
True.
Um, a little background: Sadie, and I'm going to butcher her French Canadian name, Sadie Laflamme,
Ooh.
Laflamme,
Le
flat.
Flame?
and she is 24 years old.
Wow.
So what you're saying is
Okay.
there's still a chance for me to play a high schooler. In a,
I'm surprised you're not doing it right now.
I wish if I had the acting skills, credentials,
The
whatever.
chops.
Yeah, the chops.
Okay, so it's
We're too
nice to
late.
see all these characters like continue to grow up throughout all of this. I remember like the end of season two, seeing Kat like come back from college because they crammed so many years of her growing up in those last two episodes.
Oh, whiplash.
I was like, well
Yeah.
done again, guys. Like, I'm
And
believing
Elliot
she's
wasn't
getting older and
aging.
older.
Elliot, they kept saying Elliot every time Alice ran into him, they'd say, "Oh, you've been gone for 5 years, or you've been gone 3 years." Elliot never changed.
Never.
This is the same. I'm like, he's the same age. No wonder she thought it was the next day.
Right? Do you think that gives more to his character of like, oh, everything was changing around him and everyone was leaving and all these things, but he remained the same throughout?
Ooh,
That's deep, but
that's so
yeah,
deep. That's almost as deep
yeah.
as
And with his
mine.
I was
shorter
gonna say I'm
hair,
looking for depth with the pond and stuff. Dive in.
they couldn't just change his hairstyle and make him look older like they did with Kat.
Mm-hmm.
Made it a little longer, straightened it out, and now she
Mm-hmm.
looks older.
Hmm.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
Kelly's pulling her straight long hair. Yes, Kelly, you look older.
It's gonna be
Yes, you've aged while we've
I'm
just been on this
aging. I'm
call.
aging. Another like shocker that I jotted down. I thought it was interesting. And again, nothing but applause for the show. And I think that's why it's like got us sucked in so hard. There's just such intentionality in a way that's just like not over the top. First of all, Casey is like the most confusing character in the entire world to me, and I'm sure that this season will like clarify that and give us some more meaning to like the purpose of that character and who they are and stuff. But noticing just how quietly and subtly they just snuck in there that Casey's non-binary and didn't like blow it out of
Just
proportion. And it was just like, yeah, that's what it is. Move on. I was
the
like,
two uses of they.
yeah.
That was it. Yeah.
Right? Uh-huh.
I was
I
like,
appreciate
okay, goodbye, DJ Tanner.
But if you think about it, okay, what that's doing is showing that she probably lives somewhat in the future
where that is a little
because
bit.
it's more progressive, more,
Mm.
it's come more to light,
Yep, 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 yep.
which
Interesting take.
which leads to your point you made in your theory section, which we'll talk about in a little while. But Kendra and I talked about this.
It's Kenny Augustine.
Kenny talked about this pre-episode, so with some ideas, and I had the same idea you did. So we'll talk
Hey,
about that when we come to it.
hey, I'm really excited because like Casey's introduction and like involvement in season two felt so random.
It
Yeah.
it felt like
And I'm excited to see it like connect.
right, and I don't know if any of you are fans of. I don't think you are, but this sounds like a Taylor Sheridan Yellowstone plot that they just dropped.
Mm,
Because it's like they brought her in, didn't really do anything with her. She interned a little bit, she delivered a check, and that was it.
hmm
And she kind of awkwardly, if you remember, asked Alice that she thought they'd be able to hang out more.
There was
Mm.
just such like an assumed,
At the point, she asked her at the
yeah,
restaurant, and it
uh-huh.
kind of died off. So I thought, are they just going to drop this plot line? But they came back to it.
There is such
Mhm.
like a comfort, like an instant comfort on like Casey's end of just like,
Right.
I'm here to intern.
Yeah.
I want
Yeah.
to do this work. Alice, I
Uh,
want to be friends with you. Let's spend more time together. Oh,
Yeah.
Dell, I have this letter from my great great grandfather from you that's going to like give you claim to your land. And like I just had that in my back pocket.
Yeah.
It's like,
Which, if we want to talk about the theory now, we can, since we're talking about Casey.
let's do it.
So the theory I had and that Kelly had also was that Casey is Alice's child,
mm,
daughter.
Isn't too
Now,
obvious though.
if that's the case, and I don't know why this is leaving my mind. What is her last name?
Isn't Casey a Godwin?
Godwin. Yeah. So that means Alice married a Godwin at some point in the future.
Ooh.
So if that is in fact her daughter.
Okay.
So something
um,
to think about, something to chew on. Maybe we'll find out. I keep jumping into the camera. Maybe we'll find out more tonight on episode 2. But
Oh my
I
God,
have
I
a
forgot there's
feeling.
an episode on tonight.
I know. I have a feeling it's going to dive more into Coyle's music place and hang out and young Colton and young
mhm.
Dell.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to that.
Yeah.
See what all of that is about. I would like to know more about as much. Okay, if the actresses and actors ever watch this, sorry, but like Andy McDowell's character Dell, not my favorite. She,
Ooh.
but I want to be able to like have a little bit more of that appreciation we were talking about, like more understanding, more like, yes, okay, like, yeah, you lost your son and your husband in a close amount of time, but like, give me more rather than like, I'm just not
Keep
going to.
harping on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
What is there? Like, tell me more. And then Alice
Let's.
going there too. And then how, yeah, like the whole thing of like, Alice has been everywhere at this point, and who knows where she's going in the future. How do we not know her? How do we like, I don't know. I feel like I need to watch it all back, even season one again. Be like, oh, okay, it does make sense. But like,
hmm
wouldn't like if Dell, I don't know, whoever visits in the past, wouldn't you still know, oh, it's Alice in the future?
Okay, but can we talk about the fact that Jacob instantly knew?
Yeah, that was
That
nice.
was so cool.
Uh-huh. Even he was like a little kid, so you wouldn't expect him to.
Right.
Right.
I thought about that. Now, remember when Elliot said, "How come nobody recognizes Alice?"
hmm
And he explained it like everybody has grown. with these people in their lives. And like Kat saw Alice grow up from a baby, to where she is. So she wouldn't make that connection.
Mm.
Um, Dell, it's just been so
Oh,
long and she's seen other people grow and she's seen, where
right.
Jacob only has memories of people 24 years ago. He doesn't
Yeah.
have any memories of anybody else in between there. So that's the only thing he's going to remember is Alice. He's going to remember Dell as a younger person, but she
Mm-hmm.
still looks the same.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kat, after a little bit of convincing and his fever
Alice is
delirium.
the only thing that's the same from when he
Right.
left.
Exactly.
Ah,
So for him to remember it, it makes more sense because that was his memory.
Mhm.
dang.
Okay.
Oh, I love that. I
Mhm.
love that. Quick shout out because we're getting closer to like the breaking into the questions that we haven't gotten into section. I gotta give a quick shout out to Elliot's renovation team.
Oh my
Ooh,
gosh.
The house is gorgeous.
Elliot's glow up, just in general.
Elliot's having round of applause for Elliot's glow up.
Mexico did good things for him. Woo! You
Like
see those
We'll give you that.
postcards.
his skin is glowing, his house
Uh,
is thriving. He has worked through so much like metaphorical like breaking of the chains as he busted through that wall. Like
mhm.
being
His
able to take a
travels
clock.
did him well.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
What's that clock gonna do?
I don't know. That's, I mean, they leave that just open ended where it could be anything from anybody.
Yeah.
Have a
Was
purpose.
it in their home? Was it Susanna's and there's a message in there somewhere to
Mm.
future
Oh.
people? I
Ooh.
mean, I don't know.
So
Because
what was
they
the
never say the house he's living in isn't a house from 1814, is it?
I was just gonna ask, where did the book
Yeah, I was
come from
wondering.
Susanna? Was it in the fireplace?
Yes.
And Susanna was living with the Landrys, so that's why
Yes.
it's there.
Yeah. So I think Elliot's home, I mean, we're going to have to find it has some connection to back then,
Mm-hmm.
but
What
that
chapter?
is, I guess we'll wait and see.
Okay, I love
Mm.
it.
Yeah.
All right, so as we get the previews have been full of this. Season one or episode one was full of like little hints and teasers to this. Alice and Colton are about to hang out on Coil Beach. Coil Beach, Coil Point.
No, Coils is like a kid hangout, like a malt shop type thing, music shop.
Oh,
Oh, I
yeah.
thought
Now,
that was what the little spot on the beach was called that they keep on going to.
no, the point is what the coffee shop is where Alice works.
Okay.
And Coils might be the point before it was the point. So it
Oh,
was a hangout that teens went. They had like open mic nights and did singing and stuff. And
oh, and we don't have a name for that part on the beach.
no, and
Oh,
no, Kendra, it's not La Push.
oh, we
Oh,
could call it Bush. We could call it La Pond.
La Pond. La Pond, baby, La Pond.
The good ones don't go there.
Okay,
Goodwin. The
another
Godwin.
moment of round of applause
Godwins. I
for
keep calling them good ones.
Goodwin.
another moment and like round of applause opportunity for Elliot for putting that record on and continuing like to play Colton's demo because without that we never would have heard Alice.
And they're like, that's Alice's voice. Oh my gosh.
You can't mistake it.
That's why
No,
he encouraged her, yeah, to sing, right? In
right.
Jacob as a child phase, the 90s with teenage Cat, Colton was telling Alice to be like, oh yeah, you should sing, right? Like I think Sven Coyle brought that to my attention. So then it's like, is this based on your
Do
history
you
with him
know?
in the
What do
70s?
you know?
That's why I believe Colton has been traveling all along and he knows everybody. Kelly, you said it once that Colton is like the most wholesome soul you've ever
Mm,
seen on TV.
sure,
I agree.
Mhm.
But
sure.
maybe there's a reason. Maybe he knows these people. Because when somebody comes wandering into your property soaking wet on a dry
Ugh.
day, do you just go,
You're on
hey,
face.
you want to help me build this?
Do you want to build me?
Wanna build
Build.
I knew that was coming. So Is that why? Because he knows these people
Oh,
already? He knows about traveling. He knows they've traveled. He's
Yeah.
traveled with them.
Has an open mind. He's taken a dive into that pond and he knows if someone's walking around wet,
Right.
that's where
Remember,
he's
we saw
been.
him at the end of season two, the last episode. He was by the fire watching all of them. And
Hmm?
remember back, and we don't know if this is before 1814, when that lady was by the pond with him and said, "You're not ready yet, Colton."
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, which blows another theory out of the water. Are we into theories right now?
Well, it can't be like with him for 1814, like it can't be because what, he's like a teen in the 70s,
Right.
but
Yeah, that's
that's for
what's
sure
odd
not the
because
60s that they're talking to him.
everybody up till now, they have ingrained us to believe you can't travel forward past your time. So, like, Alice can go back, but then she can
Nobody
go
can go
forward
for,
back to
yeah.
her time. She can't go into the future.
So
But
then,
Colton was a child back then. Now, how did he get to this time?
Mm.
So I hope they address that. I hope they don't leave that open ended.
It feels very like pioneering though. Anytime that they show. Do you remember like that quick little snippet where they showed the basket and the baby was in it right by
Yeah,
the pond? Like that felt like pioneer days again. And so I was like,
right.
wait a minute.
And then two people held hands and jumped in. Who was that?
So
oh.
many questions. So
Yeah,
many questions.
Oh my gosh. Dell and Colton time traveling together.
Okay, I want to throw into the
maybe
theory.
that's baby Colton. Maybe they had a child earlier.
Maybe it's baby cat.
Think about this. Maybe they had a child back in the 70s. Colton and sent him back, and they jumped in the pond to go back to their time, and they left Colton to be raised by the Landrys, baby Colton, because in the 70s, an unwed girl having a baby was not well thought
Hmm.
of.
Ooh, scandalous.
Yeah,
Interesting. Now,
so
wow,
they
that's deep.
jumped in the pond with the baby and brought him back to
A little
um,
dangerous.
oh, what was Emmett?
Elijah?
Elijah. They brought it back so Elijah could raise him. Oh, stop.
Who,
Interesting.
who is Elijah?
The old man Landry at the farm.
Oh man,
Oh
Landry.
man, Landry. That's his
All he
name.
does is farm.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, there we go.
Okay, so I can't ignore the fact that like we know so little about Dell and she is so secretive and so obsessed with like living in this like you said, Kenny, like this like chapter of hurt. Like that's her hurt is her identity, you
Oh my God.
know?
Talk about it.
But
Talk to me
who is
about
she
it.
getting these letters from in the mailbox and all this stuff? And like, why is
Oh
she
yeah.
so not surprised like about this whole time traveling thing? Like, baby girl's got secrets,
Yeah. It's
Does.
closets of secrets, I think.
uh-huh. I know. It's like I don't know. She's not involved in in so many things. I'm just like, do you live in this house? Like, hello, are you here? But then it's like, like she knows something.
Like,
She does. Our, I'm going to throw it out there.
Oh,
What if it's Sam Bishop,
who's Sam Bishop?
the the horse owner and the guy who bought the farm next to
There
her?
has to be something shady with him.
He just shows up out of nowhere, ingratiates himself. Something is going on with him. So,
I thought that when Casey took the interest in season two and got very curious about like their family's history and all of that stuff, and was just finding out that like things were like uglier than like this like positive timeline they'd been given. And Kat was like, yeah, shit sucked back then. Like, you don't even know. I just saw Thomas get shot. And like all that stuff. I thought that Sam was gonna tie into that somehow, and I thought Sam was gonna be like a Godwin. Is he?
maybe
Okay, but we
I
don't
think
know
that
that.
you're
Okay.
right. There's more to him, and
Okay.
we don't know what
And
it
there
is
has
yet.
to be, like, with this like tension and the secret love affair, which also why are they keeping it secret and making out in the clubhouse? Like it's been 9 months since you've been horseback riding and bringing each other lattes. Like why aren't we
Right.
pumped?
And it's
Right.
been 24 years since your husband died. I think it's time to come out in the open.
Yeah, like you guys can whatever. Get your
Unless she's the only thing I could think, but they haven't made her character that deep, I don't think, is Dell is trying to kind of cushion Jacob from it since he
mm,
just came back.
mm-hmm.
But that might be going a little too far for her.
Yeah, because wait, yeah, Jacob was gone first, then Colton.
Right, just a couple
So
months later.
what does Jacob know about anything with his dad?
Kat told him.
Okay.
And got super awkward because she was like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
by the
responsible."
way.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So, oh yeah. Okay.
Oops.
Okay.
Okay, so a couple of things that in this whole 1814, 18 whatever world, I've brought this up a couple of times. I have some serious questions about Kat's relationship with Thomas and Susanna. Like, why is she so emotionally attached to both of them when it's like, girl, you've been
Go.
here a couple of hours?
Don't be here anymore. We don't
How did
want.
you fall in love with Thomas? And also, how did you and Susanna fall in love with each other? Like, there is love there and like more of like a sisterly bond. I'm like, are we like romantically interested into
All
like
right, for real. I
what's
kind of
going on
wanted to
here?
go that way. I was like, give up on all these like nasty dudes. Go get yourself a lover from back in the day.
I will say this. Chris Holden Reed, who plays Thomas, they needed to use him more.
Oh, I thought he was great.
He is a great actor and he's been really good in other things. I think they kind of shallowed him out and just kind of
Gave him
like a
a
time
time and had
filler.
to like cut a story short.
Yeah, they just used him just to say, "Hey, this is why Jacob was in trouble," and then that was the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would have
yeah.
liked to seen him somehow travel to the future,
Oh,
but I don't know. I just think he was underutilized as an actor or character.
Okay. Yeah,
interesting.
because like I was interested, but I never once believed all of this whole like when she was like, I choose you, Elliot, over Thomas.
Yeah,
Girl,
That
these two things aren't equaling out on the scales. Like, what are you
no,
talking about?
she, when it comes to dating people, that lady's just lost it. So that meant absolutely nothing to me. But I was also like, it's about time because you completely lost me. Like, if you introduce one other guy into your
the
life, like,
yeah. The only thing I took from that was earlier in season two when Elliot told her, you know, I'm always here. One of these days, you're going to choose me.
Mm,
He did tell her that.
mm,
So
I
I
blow
think
up.
that's why she worded it that way.
Flex on
And
me.
okay.
basically she's done flinging around and,
Ooh,
you
fling it
know, she
around.
wants to get
Flinging
Elliot,
around. I like that verbiage.
keep it family friendly.
Um, I am really ready for this painting to be explained. The My
Yeah,
Catherine.
that threw me for a loop when I saw it half done.
And why was it secretive? Why are like
God,
what are you two hiding?
Yeah.
And like the fact that she was like, please, please write for me, my Susanna, write for me. And she was like, I'm a painter now, bitch. I'm not gonna show you.
So
I'm not ready. I'm
maybe
also in
this,
love with you. I'm just so. And then when they threw in that thing that, like, from Kat's idea, she's thinking that it could potentially be Colton because before Colton died in the car, he called her my Catherine.
Oh yeah.
And I
right?
was like, so Colton's helping you get the paint? Like, what is going
Like,
on here?
yeah,
Maybe
you're
Colton finished
old.
the painting back then. Who knows? I mean,
Maybe.
Touch up.
He found it and he was like, this makes sense.
yeah.
Let me help you out. It's been 150 years, but I got you. Let me finish this up.
And then Susanna's like, well, Jacob's gone. Like, here's another Langer man. I guess I'll hook on to him. And
Mm,
now those two are together.
poor Susanna.
Who knows?
No, TBD. I'll put a pin in that one.
Yeah.
So we kind of touched on like who we think Casey is and the theory behind Casey and everything. The ring. Like it's
That's
so obvious and it's the
that's why
only
I
thing that we
landed at
have.
daughter. Yeah.
So is that like meant to be an obvious clue for us, or is that right there our like red herring of a mystery? And it's like, psych, gotcha.
I think it's meant to just put it in our face that, yeah, this
Yeah.
girl is more to the show than an
Casey's your
intern.
kinfolk.
Right.
Yeah. I feel like some things kind of need to be a little obvious here. Like, I feel like we got a lot of things swirling, open ends, like, what? So,
But which also was weird because that means she brought something back with her from the future that already exists in the past. And I thought you couldn't do that,
oh,
but maybe, because Alice has the ring and now the same ring is hanging on her neck.
As a duplicate. Yeah.
So how did she bring that back with her if she's traveling from the future?
hmm.
I'm wondering if these are little things that we're picking up on or that the viewers pick up on that the writers aren't really thinking of. Because once again,
Friends loopholes.
this is Hallmark, so their writing doesn't go super in depth because of their time constraints. I mean, you're looking at, how long would these seasons and these episodes be if we went through all the
Yeah.
details
Yeah.
and explained everything properly?
True.
So
It's
that might
top
have
tier
something to do
Hallmark.
with it. Like we're not supposed to maybe remember those types of things or dig that deep into it. We're just supposed to
Yeah.
say, "Hey, she has the ring. Let's see who she is." You
Yeah.
know.
I think that it's gonna have to play some kind of a I think it's gonna be big and I think it's gonna be important. And I do think it's gonna have to answer some of those questions because that whole like when she tried to bring the medicine back and how that was such a point, like, I can't bring things back. I can't bring things back. And then that ring is like the only thing that Alice has to like fully focus on with Casey. I feel like it's gonna come. I'm gonna put my money
But
out there. I think it's
right,
gonna come back and be explained to
and
us.
we could be looking too far in about bringing it back because thank God they can bring clothes back with them, or we'd have a whole different show on a different network.
Naked and
Yeah, so
afraid.
maybe that jewelry is just part of clothing and it
Ah,
worked that way. But it
Interesting.
is weird that it's now a duplicate in both times.
Yeah,
So
that's
I
weird.
don't know.
okay. So the episode ends with Alice getting out her massive phone. Did you see how was I the only one who was taken aback by how big Alice's phone was?
That's one of those old notes. Remember those things?
Okay, I was like, wait a minute, what is why
iPad.
you have a
Yeah.
boombox up to your ear?
I have the 15 Pro Max and it's half that size.
What is that?
Yeah.
Comparison to
Okay,
my mini.
so yeah, it was definitely Kendra's, not Kendra's mini.
Mine's not. Oh, there it is. Woo. Hey, what's the notes? The show notes.
Where are you? Are you time traveling into the pond? You just disappeared.
Oh, apparently you did and brought back an accent with you. Nice.
Okay, so Alice gets on her phone, calls her mom's being.
What is
What
she
is her
being?
mom doing? Making out with Elliot?
Yes.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Okay, mom's making out
Making
with
out with
Elliot
somebody.
Doing a lot of macking in this episode.
always. Um, who is who's time traveling? And who pushed her in?
Oh.
Who pushed her
Somebody,
in?
I think it's Casey. I think there's unfinished business to get somebody together so that everybody,
Ah,
my theory, and Casey knows it because in the future she knows something has to happen or something got messed up.
Mm.
hey.
She wants her to go back.
Also, I swear that was Casey running through the woods in the night. Like, when Alice like first saw somebody running, that was Casey's head.
Yes.
That was not Colton.
No. 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 No.
Okay.
But I believe Colton is also traveling
Yeah.
Ooh, so we're gonna have
Who
because I
is
mean they
active.
showed him at the end of episode 2, and as deep into time travel as we are, I don't think we're also going to go deep into spirits walking around. I don't think they're going to go both those routes.
Mm.
So
Okay,
seeing Colton, well, he wasn't a spirit; he was actually there, but he traveled there.
but did you notice the way that he looked different as he was watching the family back in the 90s on the firework night.
I did, and I
There
was
was a look
chalking
to
that.
him and there was
I,
editing around him that gave him a like subtle glowing, and I don't know if that
but
was dramatics
I
of
was
because of
chalking
the
that up
story.
to green screen, so he could be in both shots, because he was in the
Ah,
background sitting there at the fire. So I'm chalking that up to a lower budget green screen.
okay.
At least that's what I told myself at the time. We'll see if that holds true.
Because
But that's
it's
kind of
funny
what
that
it
you say like
looks
we're not
like.
doing spirits because that's exactly what I thought. And I was like,
Right.
Yeah.
he's time traveling from the dead?
I hope they don't do spirits, but you never know.
That's weird.
That'd be a little much.
Yeah. And the more I look at the screen, all I can see is Kelly Landry right in the middle. Well, no, you got to move so you cover her up. Yeah, right there. Take a screenshot of that. That's your new background.
Okay,
Okay.
great.
Well, those are all the events of like the show. Did we miss out on anything before we get into what I think might be my favorite question of our time together tonight? Did we get to everything? Ken, were there any things that caught your attention that we haven't gotten to?
Not quite. I think the only other time traveler, I don't think we discussed it today, is Elliot and how we've been talking about together off camera, like how he's also traveling and whatnot. So I'm just like, how many people can travel? One.
What are the qualifications? Yeah, the dog could.
That has been my biggest question throughout all of these seasons so far. Where's the dog story? He just jumps in for months at a time, doesn't come back. He needs a spinoff when this show's done first.
Can you
And
imagine Demi?
yeah, she'd be so cute. I'm gonna Photoshop that, her launching into the pond. Um, but like no one even mentions, like there was that one scene, right? Where like we saw the dog jump in the pond. That was it.
Well, isn't that what got Jacob to finally go into the pond?
At it?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe that was like had some reasoning then. Okay, because I was like, why did they deliberately show us that? But then no one even talks about like, oh, we love our dog, we hang out with him. He's just like kind of there. Like, okay, that makes sense at least. But
Also,
then,
he didn't ever come back.
Yeah. He
right,
goes back and
I
forth.
know. Okay, like, does he go
He
off?
was there when
Dog!
Cat was there
Picture him
in
as like a war
1814,
veteran.
and now he's back in 2024.
What a life.
Yeah.
I need a spin off.
Finn the dog is not still alive in 2024.
Yeah, he is. He was sitting on the bed with Alice, wasn't he?
I thought he's like there right when they like move in, right? When they get there and he's just like, hey, there's a dog
Yes.
here.
Jacob's been
She,
gone for 24 years. That dog is,
I
it's just
thought,
bouncing back and forth. I mean, it could be really 10 years old, but since it's bouncing, it doesn't matter.
but
so,
like thinking, okay, but like if Dell doesn't
Wait,
know
wait, wait.
anything about this timeline,
so
she has had a dog
for
for
that
over
many.
24 years who is not aging.
So when do you think she
Because
got
she's checked out already.
gone?
But,
We have a lot of things to uncover with her.
but
She's unwell.
maybe that's what's keeping Colton alive. It's jumping back and forth. He's never really, he can only go as far forward as his death day. I thought about this earlier. I was going to bring this up and I didn't. But you can go back and then you can come back to the time that you went in. So, like, if it's 2024, if you jumped in the pond, you can go back to whenever. And then when you come back, you can only come back to the day you jumped in. You
Yeah.
can't go forward. So Colton can only come back to his death day. So, or the last time he jumped in the pond. Like maybe now he knows he dies in the future. That's why he's not showing himself because everybody thinks he's dead. And he's only staying in between those times, kind of going back and forth. I bet we see him in the background at Coils or something. I don't know. Just a thought.
All right.
You guys
It would
went
be
really
close.
quiet on that one, so I don't know if that's
No, it was a
what
lot
I
to
mean.
take in. I still can't get past the point that Finn has been dicking around in
Yeah.
Dell's timeline for the life of two
Okay,
dogs.
but we're all dog people here. Does that surprise you that they made a dog that incredible?
Absolutely not.
I
But
mean,
Dell knows something.
Uh-huh.
right. Yeah. She was very quick to say, we can't tell anybody about this. This is our secret.
Mm.
Only the family and Elliot knows. That's it.
Right?
So,
Are you going?
I'm stuck in
and
my blankets.
it didn't seem like, once again, Hallmark time constraint. It didn't seem like it took her very long to grasp the idea of the pond, and that's where Jacob has been. She's just like, oh, okay, great.
Right? Like,
Why didn't you
I'm
tell me, Kat? Well, because, I
Everybody knows,
want
but
to get your
but
hopes up,
me,
but
okay, I know.
yeah, exactly. Wink, wink. Just like the letter saying, we know you're lying. We know. I
What
know
if she
you
did
know.
something naughty?
So I think we're going to pay close attention these next couple episodes if anybody writes anything down, because that'll be, I think, the clue of who's writing those letters. We're going to go, oh, that's the same writing.
I couldn't catch who the envelopes were addressed to.
I thought they were to Dell.
Delilah?
yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
I can find out right here in a second, but
Her name is
yeah,
Delilah Landry.
yeah.
What a bell.
Deli.
Bell the
Who calls
bell.
her Deli? Was that Colton?
Belly.
That sounds right.
Somebody called her Deli.
It's not cat.
No, and I think it was Colton.
All
All right.
right.
Was that at the end of the episode?
The deli?
No, the letters. Oh, here we go.
No, it was like it started
Nope.
off
Okay.
like middle because it was like after the whole CNN broadcast. Where I was like, y'all are reaching for with this.
That was a
Right.
weird flex, man. Like, he's back. What did they even say? And I was like, dude, I'm not buying this. Like,
He stumbled upon a family that was living off the grid. They did not have electricity and they
yeah,
lived 200 years ago.
you have to make a statement like that publicly. Like, by law, you're not required.
I mean, I think the more that they put out to hush,
Yeah, they want to make the statement so like rumors and whatever wouldn't be going around. But like, you're
yeah.
asking for trouble by making that specific statement. Like, I don't think there was anything they could have said, but I don't think that was helpful. Put the little target on your back or something.
Mm, I agree.
Those anonymous letters are just going to keep coming.
Who are they from?
They're from the dog.
Okay. Here's
That's why
they
it's
no.
stamps.
Wait,
It takes
what were
the
you
stamp.
calling her? What were you calling Dell?
Delilah.
Yeah, okay, that's who they're addressed to.
Okay.
Delilah Landry at that address, but
What a
obviously
queen.
no return address.
Okay,
Mm.
also,
Delilah.
she's not actually from Canada because she has a southern accent.
What is that? That's been driving me crazy this whole time.
That'll get explained tonight.
Well, she could. I mean, there are parts of Canada that have different dialects, so
But Southern Belle, Louisiana drawl?
she could be from the States. They just, yeah, they never say where she's from.
No,
I bet they
why?
talk about it as a teenager.
Okay, so we'll figure that one out
We'll
tonight.
see, right? I hope it's intentional, but like she is the only one, right? Like Kat certainly doesn't have that. Colton doesn't have that, right? Like no one.
Yeah.
So, and I was like, Andy
Also,
McDowell
Andy
doesn't
McDowell. Yeah, Andy doesn't naturally. Not
even
that
know,
I know of.
right?
I'm not
Wait a
know.
minute. Delilah Landry. Okay, so they're giving us the clue on the letter, and I wish I could bring it up here. Um, there's letters, the E and the A. It's all typed on her envelope, and the E and the A is a definite space, and the next letter is crooked. Like they're really emphasizing that on here. So somebody's going to type something, and we're
On a
going to
broken
see that.
typewriter.
That'll be the clue because it's typed
Ooh,
on there. It's not handwritten.
Okay.
broken typewriter,
So
the keys.
it's the keys, and it's an old time typewriter. It's not a new one.
Okay.
So that'll be interesting.
Interesting. Ooh, I'm
Yeah,
excited for today's episode.
it's really obvious. I'm gonna do that. Okay.
All right. One of our final things before we wrap this up and prep for tonight's episode. We have seen time travel now to the 1800s. We've gone to the late 90s, early 2000s, and we're about to like go into hippie time 70s. What
Hmm.
era would you be the most excited to time travel back to?
What a great question.
Would
Spence?
it be in our current location? Would have to be, right? Everything
Mm,
happens in that same town.
locally, yeah.
So, because you'd want, well, we'll say we're traveling by the pond. You want access to that pond, right? You don't want to end up on the other side of the country. And how do you get back,
Mm.
right? You need to
I
Right.
didn't think that far with the question.
with that pond, I think. So I think you would still be here or wherever
So
you're located.
check your phones.
Yeah.
I sent you that letter.
Okay, but where would you guys travel to? What time?
Oh, there it is. Okay. Ooh, that is an intentional crooked E. Good catch. Okay.
Yeah.
I really connected. There's so many times I'd want to go to, I guess. I'd probably, I don't know. I don't know if I could jump in the pond and not know where I was going. So I'd probably want to know where I was going. But I really, really loved season one of the show when she
Mm.
went to visit the mom. And I thought that was such a sweet little thing and how best friend like and like cute they were and how she got to see everything. So I would probably do that. I would want to see like someone younger at least. So whether it be mom or even like you, Kelly, and I could like be your friend at school or like
Ah,
growing up. Like I think that would be the most fun because then you
Would
like,
Kenny, would you get kicked out of the dance too?
ooh, you know what? I probably would if I was like today, me and Kelly were at dancing.
If
I
if we
could
ever
dance
get a
that.
viewer, we'll have to explain to them what this is.
well, I also
That
just
joke
need
is.
somebody else to see what happened because I was slighted. I should not have been kicked out of that dance. I
Yeah.
was made a statement by, like, that was all for show.
Hmm. Hmm.
Assholes.
Somebody has to
Okay.
take the fall.
So that's where I'm going though. I'll be there.
I think I wouldn't mind going back a little further.
Mm,
Um, with knowing what I know now, and applying it
Oh,
back then.
your knowledge, your
yeah.
Yeah.
awareness.
It'd be very interesting. I saw a comedian has a nice take on this. He said if he went back in time and tried to explain to people about the future, he wouldn't be able to. Nobody would believe him.
Yeah.
Because he'd say, in my day, you have a thing in your pocket that has a camera on it. It has stores music you can listen to, video,
The
internet. And he's like,
level.
what's the internet? Or okay, how'd they make that? I don't know. They just did. We buy it from Apple. Like you wouldn't be able to explain things anyways
Yeah.
Yeah.
because we just don't have the working knowledge of engineering one of these things.
Hmm.
But just knowing, I think because of internet, the world connectivity that we have, we would know so much more and be able to navigate that time better than
Yeah.
they are.
Yeah.
But I would be it'd also be so interesting to see how things like how they came up with the space race, like how they came up with this stuff.
Mm.
What were they thinking and what did people think of it when it was happening? Did they think it was like bizarre UFO type stuff or was it just natural that, hey, we have this technology to travel to the moon all of a sudden?
I
I mean,
still think space travel is like,
we've been flying for like 40 years, but all of a sudden, the invention of airplane, now we're going to go to the moon. Like what? How did that happen? How
that
did
was
that
fast.
jump happen? I'd like to
Right?
see stuff like that.
We went 0 to 100 real quick.
Yeah. I
Really.
mean, a whole nother discussion another time. We'll talk about the advancement of man. I mean, we've been civilized for what, 4 or 5 thousand years, but the
Mm.
planet's been here for 13 million or 13 billion, I mean.
How do we
So it's
even,
like, what? How did that happen? So
how do
another
y'all live
time.
in a rock and know that?
I don't know. We'll do that with our ancient alien podcast we're doing next. Sorry.
Perfect. Perfect. Yep.
Yes, Kelly's gonna be spinning. All right, Kel Landry. I've decided that's your new name. You're not Kelly Landry, you're
Cal.
Kel.
Yeah.
Cal.
And I think we should all try and make puns of our name next time. Where are you going?
I really like, and again, I think coming back to like season one and like what the whole purpose of like this kind of show is and started as, like the dudes are coming in and like Elliot's storyline is so important. Jacob's is obviously important. We're gonna get Colton's, like the men are getting a little bit more of the spotlight this season, I think. But coming back to like season one and thinking about it, all was like an opportunity for Alice to understand so much about her mom
Yeah.
and like obviously starting to get to understand stuff about her grandma. I think that is such a cool thing that she has. So I think I would like I would nominate myself as tribute, and I would go back to a time where maybe we could learn some things about grandma.
Do you want to learn? I was just gonna
I
say,
think
do,
I
do you
do.
want that?
Yeah. I
I
mean,
Given
as a
everything that's happened
mystery,
recently, I
like
mean,
no one knows who you are. Like you're kind of under the radar. You can leave whenever you want if it gets to be too much, as
yeah.
the font allows. Like I would love that too. You don't even have to volunteer yourself. I will too. We can go
Let's hold
together.
hands and
Like
jump together.
let me
I
visit every generation. I'll see it all. We can all go together.
now wouldn't you be afraid just in the least bit that the whole idea of just writing off how they recognize people and don't recognize people is wrong? Because do you really are you secure in the fact that you could go back, meet your mother, and come back now and she wouldn't remember who you were? I I
That is
have a hard time
believable.
with.
Hmm.
Oh, my
I
mom
mean,
would remember me. She'd be like, "Oh, it's that curly head girl. Oh my God, she's back."
There is,
making me uncomfortable. Like I don't know why she's.
Hey, guess what? You know how Alice was named Alice after
uh-huh.
Kendra Alice? Mom named me Kendra because she knew a Kendra back in the day briefly or something. So maybe I did time travel.
All right,
Okay,
I would
we
like
have
to
six
end
minutes.
each of our episodes with making some kind of a nomination for who is the MVP of the episode.
Oh,
So when we think about this first episode of season 3, clear like we are doing like we've got what an hour that we've been sitting here yapping about this. Like, bravo, Hallmark, you're doing it. Who was our most valuable time traveler? And we can use time traveler loosely.
If you came up with a nomination idea, have you thought of something so you can go first?
Yeah, I think I feel like this is going to come up often if we do this every episode, but like I have to say Elliot for this one. Like
mm,
from the glow up, the
love him.
patience, him waiting for God knows how long. What are we at now? Like 30 something years to finally get to date Kat. Um,
Get over it at this point, though.
Finding the ticket in season 2, like everything that is like so beautiful and so peaceful right now at where we're at in this episode all comes back to Elliot.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yep. That is so
All right.
true. I agree. It's like without him, where's the show? We need him. Like, and they know they need him too. And like, that's so annoying. And like, I was even watching season 2 back and they were so like, Alice was so mad. She's like, he bailed on us. Oh my gosh. And it's like, dude, he's trying to get his tan on in Mexico. Let him live. Like, he can't even have a vacation. Like, he is everything to the show. I think for my valuable time traveler, I'll say Jacob currently because
Mm,
it's weird for him. And like I think there was a part where it was pretty relatable where he was just like, I don't know who I am in this time and like
mm,
what am I in all of this. I'm interested in like learning a bit more about that and like just seeing his character arc because we only know him as that little kid and now he's just like, hi, I'm here in society and you guys like uprooted me from this new place that I was calling home, I guess. And like so I'll give it to him in this episode.
I love that.
I
I
and then the dad or the dog as well.
the dog, yes.
He
I
always will get my vote.
I'm going to second Kenny's because that's what I was thinking too. That line that he put out when he said, "Back there, I was a man, and here
Ooh,
I'm considered a child."
ooh.
Yes.
And if you think about it, a 32-year-old in 1814 is pretty much running the place.
Hmm.
That's like the top of the food chain, so to speak. And now to come back here and your mom packs your lunch and comes out to the field and checks on you. If you go want to leave, where are you going? You can't go. Granted, when we understand why she's that way,
Yeah.
because he disappeared when he was 8, and so she still has that mentality.
Yeah.
And now she's worried that if he leaves her sight, he's going to be lost again.
Right. Overprotection
Right.
too.
But when
Yeah.
he dropped that line, it was like,
Ooh, yeah. Ooh.
finally, he said that. Because I was thinking that the whole time. I'm like, they're treating him like he's 8 years old. Back then, he was smuggling rum. He was, stealing from the British and from the Godwins and everything else.
They want the
He
old him
was,
back. You got to get
Yeah,
print him back.
he can take care of himself, and
Also,
it's
like
just it was bizarre.
his way of life in 2024, he's standing out as like a hermit and like a recluse and like, oh God, he's a little awkward. But also like tending to the farm all day was something to be proud of back then too.
Right.
So like again, on top of that, just like, okay, but also like y'all are trying to get me to do all these things and get out there and go do this and go to like, I'm good.
Right, and that
Yeah.
house could use the work too.
Have we noticed how beautiful it is also?
Right? I haven't seen Kat do any hoeing out there. Well, what kind
Well,
ah,
not anymore since she chose Elliot.
her days
Now,
are over until she
But
travels to another time zone and picks up another little guy, then we'll
till
see.
Thomas
But
comes out of the pond.
we have to ask the big question though. Are the hinges still rusty on the barn?
is that like an
Is that a
analogy?
sexual innuendo?
Yeah.
Remember when Sam Bishop came over and said that he noticed the hinges on her barn were rusty? And does she help? Does she want help with those? And then she was like, "No, I can do that myself." He was just like trying to come up with ways to be over there, which also led me to think there's something skeezy about this guy. He's
Totally.
just trying to find
Fine.
reasons.
When he took Dell's best friend out for a date, he's a
Yeah.
hoe.
And then later on,
Came
she
out in
brought
the
up the
field.
hinges again. So did Jacob finally take care of the rusty hinges? Who knows? That's a question.
All
On that
right.
note, that's
So
a good wrap up.
the stage is set for the next chapter to be unveiled to us tonight. The countdown begins. We will be here again to share with you all of our shockers, our questions, our theories, our nominations, and whatever else pops out of that pond at us.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever else. Or
Whoever else,
whenever else.
whatever else.
Okay,
Yeah,
do we have any predictions for what's to come tonight?
I just got to sit back and watch. I don't even know.
I think we're going to see a big scene at Coyle's. I think she's going to meet a young Dell and
Yep,
a
I can't wait.
Colton.
I
I think
can't.
that'll happen tonight. Um, I don't know about Kat and Elliot, where they're going to go with those two now,
Mm.
but eventually they're going to have to jump back in too to get in on this because, Kat can't
Can't
let Alice
stay,
go by herself and do things on her own.
can't stay
So,
away.
right. So she'll jump back in.
I
But I
think
think
we're
it's
gonna,
going to be a big introduction to the Landrys as teenagers.
yes. Casey's got to pop up somewhere.
Mm.
I think she's just going to pop up in the background.
In
Okay.
the current, I don't know. Yeah, I feel like she would almost stay in the current day or something because the whole squad will be probably traveling to the.
But if she shows up back there, it'll maybe lead credence to that. That's who pushed Alice in the pond
Yeah.
because she had to get her back to that time for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's
Easy.
what it's all going to boil down to. But
Yep.
because the pond only sends you where you need to go.
Oh,
We know,
the pond only sends you where you need to go.
we
That's
know that.
true. That's true.
And with that, please like, subscribe, share, post your comments, your theories in the comments box, please. We can't wait to see those and respond to those. You know how it is. And until then, may the pond always show you the way home.